Let's get straight to the breaking news overnight. An attempted coup leading to chaos, death, and instability in Turkey, a key U.S. ally, a major strategic partner in the fight against ISIS, and a country where millions of Americans go on vacation.
And we want to show you some pictures that will give you a sense of just how quickly these events unfolded. Now, this shot is from early Friday evening on the main bridge in the city of Istanbul, lit up to honor the victims of the recent terror attack in France. And then just hours later, this same bridge, look at it, blocked off by members of the military who were launching that particular coup.
And what followed was hours of tanks and soldiers in the streets, and then massive street protests and violence. We are hearing reports of hundreds of people killed and many more wounded.
And as we come on the air this Saturday morning, there are signs that the coup has been thwarted. The government says 2,800 plotters have been arrested. We do have team coverage this morning, and we begin with ABC's Alex Marquardt.
It was chaos overnight across Turkey as part of the country's military attempted to seize power in a coup, which this morning appears to have ended in failure. More than 100 who helped stage the insurrection were killed, as well as more than 160 others. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who was on vacation, quickly flew to Istanbul and dramatically vowed to crush the uprising. He blamed it on the followers of an exiled Turkish cleric living in Pennsylvania and called on his supporters to take to the streets. This crowd answering the call, confronting the soldiers and climbing on their tanks. Hours earlier, troops in camouflage had shut down the iconic bridge over the Bosphorus, which connects the European and Asian sides of Istanbul. A statement by coup organizers declared martial law as tanks took up positions at the entrance to Istanbul's airport, driving alongside cars on highways, jets and helicopters buzzing overhead.
They were very low flying, they were very noisy, and there were so many of them.
Explosions were heard in the two biggest cities, Istanbul and the capital Ankara, where there was a blast at the Turkish parliament. Shattered glass and doors ripped off their hinges. According to state media, the insurgents used WhatsApp to communicate. This video released this morning. The U.S. watching the sudden uprising with concern. Turkey is a key NATO member and U.S. ally in the fight against ISIS. They host an air base used by American warplanes that bomb ISIS targets in next-door Syria. By daybreak, Turkey's government had said it had taken back control, arresting around 3,000 connected to the plot, Turkey's president calling it an act of treason. Amid the chaos, Turkey's main airports and land borders were shut down. Inbound flights were diverted, but now that things appear to be calming down, those flights are slowly resuming. Dan?
Alex Marquardt reporting in this morning. We want to turn now to someone who had a street-level view of the chaos overnight. Monique Jacques is an American freelance photographer who lives and works in Turkey. We spoke moments ago. So, Monique, at what point overnight did you realize that something was amiss in Turkey?
Yeah, I was at a friend's house. We were sitting on a rooftop terrace, and there were several helicopters flying over. Shortly after that, we started hearing jets, and on Twitter, we were hearing reports of the bridge being taken.
So you went out into the streets. How dicey was it?
The first thing that we saw were people were lining up at ATMs, buying water, food, other essentials, just in case the night got quite long.
And when you were out there, was there any violence?
There were shots fired. The crowds got quite large, and people were firing into the air to disperse crowds and kind of create panic. But we saw several people injured, but it's not confirmed that it was from gunfire.
We know elsewhere, however, there were many people killed and many people injured.
Yes, people up on the Bosphorus Bridge, as well as many people in Ankara.
And Ankara being the capital city, several hundred miles away from Istanbul. Now, did things calm down as the night progressed?
What was happening was that the jets were flying over quite low on the signal, creating what's known as a sonic boom. Some windows were actually broken because of the sound. And this was deemed as a show of support by the military.
And as we speak, have things calmed down? Is there a sense that the coup failed and everything's now behind us, or are we in a time of continued instability?
Yes, I mean, the government came out of this very strong. There's calls today for pro-government protests, so measures of support, parades and such. The government's calling it Democracy Day. So the coup is very much over.
Monique, we really appreciate your firsthand account. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The coup may be over, but a lot of questions about who launched the coup and does this mean we're in for a period of continued instability.